Welcome back to the podcast. And for today's episode, we have, as well as animal rights activist and long-time vegan, Lisa Levinsons. Thank you. And of course, Mike. So to start, please just introduce yourself, tell the audience a little bit about you, you know, what you do, who you are, and all of that.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's
Of
wonderful
course.
to be here today. My name is Lisa Levinson. I'm the campaigns director for In Defense of Animals, and we are an international animal protection nonprofit. We have sanctuaries around the world in India and also in Mississippi in the United States, and one in South Korea. And we just recently started a new sanctuary called Freedom Farms, which is in the Central California area. And it was owned by the Reynolds family, Debbie Reynolds, and her family with Carrie Fisher. And now we are the happy owners of the sanctuary, and with a few cows and other animals who are there. So what we do is we protect animals and their habitats. We also have some vegan advocacy programs, like I brought this vegan guide to help people who are curious about learning more about veganism and what it is and why people decide to do that. This little magazine has recipes and articles and all kinds of good stuff in there. And so what I do is, as a campaigns director, I supervise other campaigners who are trying to protect wild horses. They're trying to protect animals who are suffering in the zoos. Also,
I actually wanted to ask about that. I
Yeah,
wanted to say, similar to the zoos, one of the things that because I'm honestly not a vegan, to be fully transparent, and one of the things that I was thinking about is, in terms of the zoos, I know you guys want full rights for the animals, but I was kind of thinking, how can we give animals the full rights if they're not providing the same benefits to society, for example, as humans? And if zoos are one of the only ways that they can provide some sort of revenue share, I think maybe that the zoos should be considered fair, as the animals are doing their part in helping the economy.
well, actually, right now, given that we are in the sixth mass extinction, and wild animals now only represent 4% of the world's biomass of mammals. This is actually a time where we want to preserve and protect the animals.
So what you're saying is that hypothetically it could be smarter to have a zoo maybe filled up with some non-wildlife, like different breeds of dogs.
Well, actually, part of what we would like to see as an animal activist, as you said, is that all animals live free and have their own rights to do what they choose. So, for
Right.
example, ideally, we wouldn't have animals who are contained in any sort of cages or in any sort of way that they wouldn't choose to do for themselves.
You know, I see where you're coming from there, but honestly, I mean, I'd say just imagine it like this. Imagine that there were, like, if let's say there's 7 billion humans right now on Earth, and imagine we spawned in, just for the sake of conversation, another 100 billion humans, and for some reason 100 billion humans, they don't want to work, they don't want to provide anything to society, they're not able really to do much. So I feel like if for some reason those already more intelligent forms of humans that are really doing the economy well, at least most of them, maybe if they wanted to pay to see those other humans on display, it might add some sort of benefit that those other humans otherwise would not provide.
So, are you saying that what to do if we have more people on the planet? How to provide food for?
No, I think what I'm saying is it's difficult for me to understand how we can give animals the same rights as humans when they're not really doing much, they're not providing physical labor, they're just kind of eating and crapping all day, to be pretty plain about it. So I feel like just giving them, free roam, we have to at some point provide the food for them, or we might be considered cruel if, we adopted a dog and didn't want to give it food, That, as you think, that might be cruel, but what exactly is he providing for us?
Well, one thing I would share is that rather than looking at all life as what do they provide for us, maybe we could revise how we look at the animals, and that they are part of our community. They're actually our wild animal neighbors. And so we want to have compassion for all living beings, humans and non-humans.
How come the dog smile with the tongue and the cat angry with a frowny face?
Well, that might be how you perceive the dogs and the cats. I don't perceive them that way. I think they're all having their own experience. And cats, maybe they're not smiling. Maybe they are. We really wouldn't know because we're not actually a cat.
That was an interesting question, Mike, and I think that was a good response to that. I wanted to ask you this. Do you believe that cannibalism is okay? Humans eating other humans?
No, I actually don't believe that eating other humans is okay.
No.
No.
Why not?
Because I think that just like the golden rule says in many worldwide traditions, that we want to treat others just the way we would want to be treated ourselves.
What if the human, like, not super smart and they're not able to do much for society? And maybe providing, not killing them perhaps, but like taking some unnecessary, like let's say they're just sitting there not doing much. We could hypothetically have taking an arm and then have them regrow the arm, and then we would have maybe a lot more meat.
Well, in the ancient days, they used to actually do this to animals. They would eat part of the animal, a duck, for example, in the old days in France, and then they would eat the other part of the animal later, so the animal would still be alive. And that's considered really cruel today. So we wouldn't do that to animals, and also not to other people.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. Don't you believe that vegan eating plants is pretty similar to perhaps normal people eating animals, provides the same pain and intolerance?
Well, actually, I think that plants are different than animals.
Well, they both, obviously there are some differences, but some could even make the argument that they're more important than animals because they provide oxygen, they provide a lot of things like that. I'm sure you wouldn't support burning down Amazon rainforest or nothing like that. So perhaps, like, I think that in some ways we should start eating more animals and eating less plants if they're providing the basic necessities for some of the animals, some of the humans to live with oxygen, and they also happen to feel pain. It's the same situation as an animal.
Well, actually, plants don't have a central nervous system, so
They do. I don't know what studies you're basing off, but as of some recent studies, they do have a lot of pain receptors, and the problem is obviously since they don't have a mind, it's a little bit harder for the pain to go through, but that just makes it kind of separate throughout the body. So if you cut off my finger, I'm going to feel pain in my hand, but if you cut off a part of a plant, it's going to go throughout the entire system of the plant. It will all go out equally.
Well, many plants actually benefit from pruning. So when you cut them, they grow more.
But they might still, that's like saying that if we have a guy whose arm is not working, we might as well just cut it off.
But with people,
Because he might grow an arm that will start working. Actually, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that people, when you dismember them, don't actually grow arms. So
What if we give them some medicine or something?
well, that's a hypothetical kind of situation. I do think that plants are very beneficial and important. And for those people who care about plants, if you eat animals, you're eating way more plants. For example...
Yeah, like one, like if I was to take like one cow, I could probably survive off the cow for like maybe even multiple weeks. But if you like eating plants, it's like you have to go through a ton of them. So I think maybe it's even smarter just if we could take like 2 cows and make them make more cows, and then we can just not even mess with the other cows. We can just get a bunch of cows and make it so they're in one environment, and then we're just using those cows to feed everybody and not the normal ones.
Well, it works the reverse, because what happens is in order to produce like a certain amount of meat from cows, you have to grow way more plants. So if you care about plants and don't want to hurt the plants,
I don't personally care. I just wanted to ask that. Like, I'm not like a guy. I don't really like to go hunting. But for example, my buddy Mike, he not Michael, but I have another buddy Mike over in Utah, and they have some interesting laws I think about hunting and all that. But every once in a while, he does like to go hunting. I've never gone with him. I've never been to Utah myself, but he likes to go hunting, and he doesn't really know what he's gonna find. But I think the general rule of thumb and kind of the law over there, since nothing is super strict, is that as long as it's not somebody's pet, you can kill it as long as you're willing to eat it. And I think maybe that can be fair, because instead of growing plants, feeding it to the animal, and then killing the animal, what if we just go out and just start killing animals that aren't pets? Because at least the pets can provide some comfort, There are very few dogs who I would actually say support the economy in a way, because they are to some extent, service dogs. Which actually leads me into a different question, which, do you believe that if a dog misbehaves, it's okay to reprimand them? Like maybe.
No,
No
I
punching?
don't. No, I wouldn't think that would be effective. I think that if you're trying to have an animal to behave the way that you would like, you want to reward them for things that they do that are positive. I actually.
What if they do something bad? Like my dog, but what? Not my dog, but like, I don't want to take accountability for this, but like, if somebody had a dog and you told the dog to sit and instead he goes, what? Maybe he will learn if you give him like a small slap in his mouth. He will possibly know not to bark, and instead he will sit down next time.
Well, I would think that many people who care about their animals would not want to do that. And animals are really just like us in different shapes and forms. So it would be important to treat them with respect and kindness and love.
Well, I see where you're coming from, but even an example from my old dog, it is really sad. Just to say rest in peace to my dog Orange Face, he was a very skilled dog. He was my best friend. He was the light heavyweight champion. He meant a lot to me. He meant a lot to other people. And then sadly one day I came home to my house and he had hung himself, and it really was devastating to me. I really hurt me a lot.
Do you know how that ended up happening? I wonder if maybe he got caught in something.
No, I just came home and it was like, it was really weird. He didn't get caught in something. He was from the ceiling. Like not from like he got caught in like a little rope on the side. I don't have, now I start putting up cameras all over the place, but there was nothing specific like where I didn't even have ropes in my house. I come home one day, he's hanging from the ceiling, and he was an intelligent dog. He had a lot of training. He was, again, light heavyweight champion. So he was a very disciplined dog, very happy, and one of the most well-known champions of his time.
Well, that sounds like it was an unusual situation, and I probably would have reported it to the authorities if you thought that there was some kind of abuse going on in your home.
No, I didn't hang him. I didn't do it to the dog. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm just curious how that might have happened.
I guess hypothetically somebody could have come into my house and done it, but I don't know. I mean, I've had this thought process before. It's, why would somebody want to do that to a random dog? Just come in and hang him. I feel like maybe he was playing around. I don't know. Maybe I had a ceiling fan. Maybe he saw it. He wanted to see if he could like go up and do something similar. He wanted to be like the fan. But I don't really know how it could have happened.
Might be worth investigating.
No, this was like a year ago now. So I'm a little bit like it was like Orange. So I would pet him. He's a good dog. And name Orange Face. But that's what I'm saying. I think maybe if he had been disciplined better, he would have never even thought to do something like that, because he thought it was in maybe for some reason his options to do that. But if he knew that was bad, he probably wouldn't have done it. Don't you think?
I don't think he did that to himself. It was likely someone else, if that indeed did happen.
You think somebody broke in and killed my dog?
I don't know, but I would investigate it.
What type of investigation do you think I should do?
Well, you could call the police and make a report, or call animal control. Those are some things you could
What would they do though? Because I don't have cameras, Well, I didn't at the time. Now it's fortified, but I guess, well, I still have the dog. Do you think maybe they can like DNA test them?
Well, I don't know. That's not my field, but you may want to reach out to the animal control because they would do some sort of investigation.
Investigation.
Yeah.
And do you think that it would be likely that it would come out that he did that to himself, or do you think it's likely that they say otherwise?
I don't know. I think you'd have to talk to the authorities.
You know what? Honestly, I think could have been his next opponent because he was the champion. So I think that's possible, really. I didn't think about it that way. That's giving me a lot to think about right now. But I wasn't home, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't have known who it was. But I'm going to look deeper into that. Would you rather have a conversation with a chicken-sized elephant or an elephant-sized chicken?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think I would like to have a conversation with both.
One or the other. And here's a better question. If you could save one or the other, who would you save? Chicken-sized elephant or an elephant-sized chicken? Let's say the other one gets eaten. Who would you save?
Well, for me, all animals are equal, so I would save both of them, actually.
But one has to go. I would probably pick the big one, the chicken-sized elephant, because then it will provide more food. This is something else I wanted to ask. So you brought this pamphlet. If you can, try to get it on the cameras. Maybe try to zoom in just so everybody can see it. So Lisa brought this pamphlet, and I wanted to ask, a lot of vegans are all vegans to some extent are probably against eating animals and against that whole thing. But why do they always want to make everything taste like meat? The front page right here is, a burger, which obviously is not vegan, piece of cheese, obviously not vegan. So why do they try so hard to really be the same?
Well, actually, those items on that cover are vegan. Those are vegan.
I know, I'm saying, but why don't you guys just eat like just green stuff and keep trying to make it like steaks?
Oh, well, actually, vegans eat all kinds of food. Sometimes those are called transitional diets for people who are used to eating burgers.
So this is a real steak?
That is a plant-based burger.
It's made with plants?
Yes.
So then, and also the cheese, right?
Yes.
So I guess it's like just bread, plants. Bread.
Well, the idea is
I would say it's not very balanced. If it's 100% plant-based, it's, you guys can eat carbs still, obviously, depending on them. But then it's just plants. The whole thing. It's a different color plant, but it's not even a real plant to some extent. It's formed to be a meat.
Well, plants have all sorts of nutrition and all kinds of proteins. Actually, you can get everything that you need from plants. And so
I don't believe so. I think that obviously there are some benefits to a diet with meat and vegetables.
Well, actually, there are so many doctors and medical professionals that are promoting plant-based diets. Even Kaiser Permanente, which is near here, has a program for that. You can look into the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. They have a program. Dr. Michael Greger, he's got an incredible book out called How Not to Die. And all of these books...
Is he a vegan?
Yes.
Well, then, there's probably some bias. If you get like a meat-eating doctor, he's going to be like, you got to eat meat. If you get like a vegan doctor, he's like, you got to eat plants. And then if you get like a normal doctor, he's going to be like, have a little bit of both, and then you're going to be the most healthy. There has to be like some of both. And I think...
Well, actually, vegans and
Let me just
vegan
turn off my
doctors
ringer
are
real quick. Sorry about that.
Also normal. So part of this is just to normalize vegan
Also,
eating.
not to interrupt you, but if you could just speak a little bit louder, I think the mic would probably pick it up better. You don't have to move
okay.
that much closer, just a little, like probably like this close, and then just a little bit louder talking.
Okay, I will do my best.
Yeah, all good. No worries.
Yeah. So you asked one question about the way that the items look, and part of that is so that people who are familiar with different kinds of foods, maybe they are used to eating mac and cheese, maybe they're used to eating
But it's not mac
cake.
and cheese, it's just blends.
Well, plants is one way to look at it, but
Well,
it's
no,
actu-
it's plants.
yes, this is probably made with cashew cheese. So the plants are could be nuts, seeds, grains.
That's actually I wanted to bring this up. I just didn't know when. Do you personally eat, avocados and almonds?
Yes.
I did want to bring that up because actually there's obviously some, references and studies that point to over 50 billion bees dying not every year, but some years over 50 billion bees are dying from the pesticides that are used to make those. What do you think about that?
Well, I would prefer to use organic.
Well, because what I was saying is that I think that it's fine if we just, because we can just make more bees, not a problem. But if we can really make it so that we're getting the most out of the situation, if the vegans want to eat the almonds and the avocados anyways, because a lot of vegans are just having, avocados every day, we need to not just use organic. It's going to cost more than that, especially if you want more people to become vegan. I think that we also somehow make it possible that we can just eat all of the bees. Would you be willing to do that?
No, because
Why?
bees are animals.
No,
as
but they're
well.
already dead making the avocados for the vegans. We can just give those to vegans, and they're eating animals, but they're already dead.
Well, I don't think that organic avocados are killing bees.
Not organic, but obviously we need more than organic if we were to try to make billions of people vegan, right? There's not going to be enough to sustain us.
Oh, well, actually, organic farming is really designed to feed the masses. So,
But as of now, it doesn't. So probably I'd say at least a good amount of vegans are eating some of those avocados and almonds from the dead bees.
many vegans are eating organic food and supporting that way of having sustainable soil and regenerative farming.
Do you think that perhaps it could be smart for the vegans that are not eating the organic ones, eating the normal ones that are costing the bees a third of the population per year? We can just give them bees also, or do you think they will be not okay with that?
No, vegans don't eat other animals.
No, but they're killing them anyways. At least providing to their deaths.
I haven't actually heard that, so I would like to do my own research on
If
that.
it is true, would you say that maybe it would be smart to just feed them bees, whether they like it or not?
No, because veganism is actually a spiritual practice, and it's according to the practice of ahimsa, which is dynamic harmlessness, and it involves making choices that have less harm to more animals. So vegans would choose not to eat animals or to harm them.
No, but the bees are already dead. There's no more harming them. They're dead. Now there's no more.
It's vegan people don't, and I will just speak for myself. I wouldn't eat animals.
If you found
regardless.
like a dead, just like a dead lamb in the middle of the forest, like let's say another animal. Actually, I have a better question. Do you think that animals should face jail time for eating other animals?
No.
Why is that?
Why is that? Because
If you want them to have the same rights as humans, why do they get the same rights as us, but they don't have to work and they also get to eat the tasty food?
well, animals they do work. It just looks different than our work. So their work is survival, and
Well,
they-
that's not helping nobody.
it is helping actually, because animals, they are part of the ecosystem, and they help keep everything in balance. And so we actually depend on the animals as well. So if they're not around any longer, we will suffer. You mentioned bees, and bees are animals that if we don't have them any longer, we won't be able to pollinate a lot of the foods. Also, moths do a lot of pollination.
You like moths?
Yes.
You like the one that go to the light.
Yes.
So like last night I was turning off my lights and there was a moth on the light. You're saying I shouldn't have got him?
Right.
But he's pissing me off. I'm trying to sleep. What do you want me to do? You want me to mess up my sleep for a moth? He's only gonna. What's the point in he's a moth. He's going for light. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He's going for a light for no reason. He just doesn't even know where he's at.
Well, moths do know quite a bit. They've
To go to the light, but there's no reason to go to the light. They just think maybe they will go to God if they go to the light, but instead they get swatted.
no, they're actually they use the light to help navigate. So
But
these
they're
animals-
navigating to the light. I'm saying they see the light, and then the light will help them get to the light, and then they're just sitting in the light. The guy wasn't even going anywhere else. He was just sitting there. He's not navigating. He's just sitting on my light. I'm trying to turn it off. I turn it off. Now he doesn't know how to navigate. He's going zzz. I turn the light back on. He's there. But now I want to go to sleep. There's only one
guess
solution.
I have a different reaction to animals. I really enjoy getting to know them.
A moth?
Yes,
You're
I
making
love
friends with
moths.
moths?
Yes, I adore moths. I think they're
That's a little bit crazy.
well, I think it just depends on your perspective. Moths, they have a beautiful eyes, and they, if you look closely at them, you can actually
Yeah,
connect with
I saw him in real close yesterday.
Yeah. I don't kill the animals. I actually enjoy having them in my environment, and when I go outside, I enjoy
He
seeing them
didn't,
there.
but I see what you're saying, but he's not paying the rent in my house. He's snuck in there. He's not. He has his own environment in the woods. Not my problem if he doesn't have a light. If I have a new light bulb installed, why does he get to take advantage of my lights?
One thing that's interesting about your questions and conversation is a lot of it is centered around you and around
Of course.
your desires. I think part of being vegan and maybe is being concerned for others.
I agree, but like you're asking me to be considerate for a moth. You have to understand the context that if being considerate of the moth is not going to sleep and it doesn't even help him. If he gonna live maybe 5 more days till he stumbles in somebody else. Here's a good question. Do you feel bad for all of the animals that died during Hiroshima?
Yes, I would feel bad for the animals and also for the people.
What about Nagasaki? All those animals too.
I feel bad for animals who die in natural disasters, if they're human caused or if they're by the environment.
What if animal eats another animal?
Well, I think that so we have a choice as humans. We have a choice whether or not we want to participate in violence, whereas some animals are obligate carnivores and they don't have that choice. So I think that's what I like to focus on is that choice.
Of course. Oh, by the way, I should have probably mentioned this earlier. If you want anything to drink, we brought you a root beer. I'm sure it's vegan. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure you would know if you want it, you can have it. If you're interested, it's not particularly cold, but it should be tasting
That's
relatively. Not interested?
No.
For sure. Okay. If you change your mind, let me know. Is it okay if I drink it?
Go for it.
Not interested for sure.
I'm positive.
Mike, you interested?
No.
Okay. This is a good question. Why do you think a vast amount of the vegan influencers and YouTubers look unbelievably malnourished? Like on the verge of death.
Well, I actually don't think that there's a lot of vegan athletes, and there is.
Do you think that it's possible for a vegan to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes, I actually know some.
He looks like him?
Well, I don't know in the face, but in the physical form, many vegans who are athletes, actually some of the weightlifters say that their athletic ability improves after they go vegan. So there's a movie called The Game Changers that I'd recommend you checking out if you're concerned about that. And they're actually doing a whole second film. So it was so popular.
That leads me on to another question. I kind of wanted to ask this. If animals can't help the economy, they can't really provide comfort unless they're like a really specifically smart dog or something. Do you think it's okay to use them in experiments? Like we don't want to have to send some human into space with experimental. We send like a dog. Some Russians sent a dog like 100 years ago, but it helped save some humans. And I know a couple friends that they don't know if something's gonna taste good, and they'll just give it to the dog. And then if the dog wants more, they're gonna eat it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Not always ending well though. Sometimes dog really not happy.
Yeah, I disagree personally with having animals, using them in experiments, and I think it's incredibly sad that those dogs went into outer space. I think that is very sad that they died for that.
But otherwise, it could have been human.
I think that people are very creative and bright, and they can come up with other ways to
Maybe
test.
send a lion.
I wouldn't send any animals at all, because animals.
What about
are
like a
not
small bug?
choosing to do that?
But they're not choosing to do nothing. Like a moth going to the light. He's choosing. He's not even choosing to do it. It's like his brain goes light, light, light. He doesn't even know what his brain is thinking. He's just following. He has no self-awareness in what's going on. It's just craziness.
I think we can't say what kind of awareness a moth might have because we don't know. So part of it is really being able to know those things. We don't actually know that. There's so
Well, we
much
can have
we
a
don't know.
general idea of like what's going on in like an animal's brain. Like there's no animal really, or no dog at least, that has a higher IQ than like a 1 or 2 year old. And if we had a bunch of 1 or 2 year olds running around and they weren't getting older, there's no way we're keeping them. We're throwing them out. I'm not looking after with the amount of animals and the amount of like regular humans. There is no way that if those animals were to turn to little children, like 2 years old, barely walking to the point where they can just like run up to you and go bah, 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 bah. Like, no chance I'm taking in like 100 of those. I'm put them in the ocean.
So you're putting the children in the ocean? Is that what you're saying?
No. If this were to happen, I would rather put them in the ocean than take care of them, yes.
The children?
If animals were to become them, would you want to take care of hundreds of children? And what if the children learned to fly and kept going to the light? That's not going to be really fun. Especially like a large toddler. That can be really crazy because obviously it's going to be variance in size. We had to cover up all of these lights with, like, as you can see, some sort of papers because it was getting out of control. There were so many moths. Like, I kept on trying to have like some guys come in here, put some pesticides, but they didn't want to do it. It started smelling bad even for them. Do you think that this was a better solution than that, or what do you think we should have done?
I don't think you'll have that many moths in here because
Because we covered up the light in
it
here.
takes several doors to get in here. You're going through an elevator. I don't think that you'll end up with too many moths. More likely outside. That's where they live. So.
Do you think that a chicken should be able to get an abortion after the 3rd trimester?
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that concerns a chicken, really. I don't think that they do that.
What if the chicken doesn't have a good living situation or financial security?
I don't think that really applies to a chicken, but it might.
No,
apply to
maybe
a person.
what about a chicken laying like 4 eggs? That's a lot of. That's a lot for them to handle potentially. What do you think about that?
That doesn't make sense to me. So
You don't think we should give them the right to abortions, or do you think that that's not a right at all? Mike, what's going on?
I think that's more a question that relates to people and their rights than to chickens. So.
Here's a good question. Do you think what Mike did to this animal is okay?
Well, this animal.
What if it was a real animal? Do you think doing something like that is nice or not?
I didn't do that.
I think this is an animal that's not really alive. So
If it was a real animal, do you
That
think
was not me.
Mike, that was you?
No.
Mike, we have been filming for a little while now. You know that was you 100%, Mike. There is no changing. Mike, you took his head.
Is that guy?
If you could be any animal for a day, what would you be? I would make Michael a pig, so he would become a slaughtered. What would you want to become?
Well, I would hope that no pigs would be slaughtered
But
because
it's-
pigs.
I'm
are
saying as of now,
very
like if I could
bright.
make Michael an animal, that's what I will make him. Cause no more Michael after that. Tired
I
of
hope
this
that
guy.
if Michael is a pig, that he gets to live out his life in a sanctuary, doing things that pigs love to do.
So what is it like a sanctuary for vegans? It's like a nice place to rehome animals and all that.
A sanctuary is a place for animals who've been rescued from different living situations that are not as good. Perhaps they came from a slaughterhouse or a factory farm.
Don't you think that if we make so much space for these animals, we're gonna run out of space for more important stuff? Like we can't just give all this space to animals. Again, they're not doing nothing for us, you know. They can be helping the environment, but some animals they're eating leaves. Those leaves not happy about that. They're giving us, you know, oxygens. Some of them, listen, most animals don't have the capacity to do more. They just yapping. They go, ow, 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 even dogs. And those are the number one animals.
Well, as I mentioned, I think that animals are part of the ecosystem and that we.
But if we got rid of
actually
all
need
animals
them.
tomorrow, we might be fine. We would have to cut some supplies and we'd have to eat some really nasty stuff, but we would, for the most part, probably be okay.
I think that we would be missing out on a lot, not just animal companionship or other enjoyment from being near animals, but also ecological things that are really, really key in the environment.
Pollination.
Pollination is one thing, but just the animals are major contributors to the quality of life that we have.
That's true. I have a good one. I'm just looking. How is it possible that vegan people stay motivated after they keep eating really nasty tasting foods?
Well, believe it or not, veganism is a very tasty diet, and there's so many yummy foods. Oh, yes, there's tons of yummy things. In fact, just here in this little book, there's all kinds of things that you might not even realize are vegan, like things that you probably are eating already. There are different kinds of burritos.
I would say that I
and-
may not be able to tell from the picture, but when I take a bite, it will be a whole different story.
Actually, the food is really delicious. That's why many, many people are going vegan. It's because a lot of it is super yummy. There's all
Are you
kinds
guys eating? Can I have something like that or not?
Nope. This one says,
What is that?
this is a quote from Paul McCartney.
So
and it
not allowed
says,
to eat the pig?
When I see bacon, I see a pig. I see a little friend, and that's why I can't eat it. Simple as that. That's
What
from
if
Paul
it
McCartney.
tastes nice? Who's Paul McCartney? Like a rapper?
No, he's a member of the Beatles.
He's an animal, a small beetle.
No, it's a music group.
So maybe, but he probably has some bias.
See, these are all different vegan dishes also. There's Lebanese food, Thai food, Korean food, Ethiopian.
So you guys make vegan like Lebanese food?
A lot of it is already vegan, actually.
I mean that's true, but what I was gonna say is like if you went to like Lebanon and you guys brought them like a vegan shawarma chicken, they will not be happy about that. They might kill you.
Actually, I went to Egypt on a vegan tour, and it was so delicious.
But that was like a vegan tour. If you go to like just a normal place, you're like, hey, can I get one vegan beef shawarma? They're gonna go, oh yeah, what's that over there? You're gonna be like, oh, what's that? Boom! They're not gonna be happy about that.
Actually, we had so much food in Egypt. There was kushari, and there was just a whole table full of vegan food. It
You've
was
been to
very
Egypt before?
Yes, it was very easy to find
The place in the stories from the books.
the country.
Like in the movies.
Egypt, the country.
You watched a movie about Egypt.
No, we went to Egypt. We traveled there.
Where did you travel to? In real life?
Yeah.
And you went to Egypt.
Yes.
and you saw like those big triangles
The pyramids.
in real life.
Mhm.
It's real.
Yep.
You can see it in person, not just on the television screen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like a book, like a novel.
Mm-mm.
It's real.
Yeah.
Do you like famous football player and animal rights activist Michael Vick?
Well, he's not actually an animal activist. He was, I believe, convicted.
Do you think it's okay to give your pet gender affirming hormone therapy?
Well, I don't think that we're making choices like that for the animals. So,
What if the dog wants to become like other dog, other version of the dog? Do you think we can help him with that, or do you think we should stay out of that?
I think a lot of the questions are very hypothetical. So,
No, there's been cases like a dog. I saw a video one time. The dog was talking. He said, "Listen, I want to become, maybe if it's possible, I would like to become the other gender of the dog." And then they said, "We can't do that. You're not human." Do you believe that humans can translate to another gender, or do you think that we should also cancel that out with humans?
I think that humans have a lot of choice in what they eat and the type of
That-
gender.
I actually have a good question. It's written on here somewhere, but just off the top, do you believe that bestiality is okay or no?
I'm very opposed to bestiality because that involves.
What if the dog consents?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm opposed to that. I think that that is.
No, but what if it's consent between both parties?
I think my answer is still the same.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's the same reason you wouldn't abuse the children. Even if a child was in that situation, it would be considered abuse.
What if it's
A consenting child?
no, a child with another child?
Well, I think we're getting out of the realm of some of the
Well,
questions.
another good question is, you know, almost 99% of animal relations are not consensual between both parties. What do you think we need to do about that?
Well, I don't think it's our job to be in control of the natural world. So, actually, what I think is cruel is the abuse that happens to animals in factory farms. A lot of cows.
Farming
for
is like
example-
when you take the meat from the animal.
Yeah, so the animals are actually put on something called a rape rack, where they are artificially inseminated in order to produce the.
That's
the
what I was saying
animals.
earlier. We could just get a couple, two cows, and then make a bunch of cows, and then we don't even mess with the natural habitat. We only mess with two of them, and then the rest are, we get to control them because it's our product in a way. I think maybe
Well-
that the vegans would be okay with that.
Yeah. This is, in a way, like that concept of the lab-grown meat. So they would have just a few cells, only not like a whole cow, but a few cells, and they would regenerate the cells, and then
You're not opposed to lab-grown meat.
I think that may be a way for people who do eat meat and want to continue doing that to do it with less harm to the environment and also.
But it
to
also
animals.
tastes very bad, like similar almost to vegan food.
That type of meat is the same as the type of meat that.
But
someone else
obviously
would eat.
there's some differences. There's gotta be a reason for tasting not happy.
I don't think taste is part of it. I think it's just it produces less waste. You don't have to kill the animals. It doesn't pollute the earth. So it's just an alternative for people who do choose to eat meat. That they can have that, and they can also design it in a way where it has less harmful parts of the meat. For example, less fat.
Do you think it's okay to eat Stuart Little?
I'm not familiar with Stuart Little.
Mouse.
Oh, no, I wouldn't eat any mice. I don't believe that.
No, but like a more intelligent mouse, like with a hat. Talking.
No, I wouldn't hurt a flea. So I definitely wouldn't be interested in hurting a mouse.
What if there's a flea on a dog? You're gonna let the flea eat the dog?
I think that's a choice for people who are animal rescuers. They might choose that. They might choose to kill the fleas. And
But okay, so we can finally agree killing animals, depending on the situation, can be really, really good.
I think it depends in that situation on who you're asking. So if you're asking a person who's involved in rescuing animals, they would choose to do that.
Do you think that maybe vegan people and normal people can eventually get along if the vegans would stop bothering the normal people and just say, you know, I live my life and you live your life? Or do you think that's not possible? Too crazy?
I think vegans get along with all sorts of people.
What about like those vegans? They go into like cow shelters or whatever, like eating the cow places, and they're like handcuffing themselves to the fences so they can't get rid of the cows and make some happy food, nice tasting steak. How much would somebody have to pay you to eat a steak? $1.5 million?
I wouldn't eat it at all because
Not for $1.5 million.
No, because it's against my morals and values, and for me spiritually, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do it for $5 million?
No.
But don't you think that, you know, eating one already dead cow can help if you want to spend that $1.5 million, potentially even $5 million on other animals?
Well, I think that the point of veganism, as I mentioned before, is boycotting those industries. So
But what if it's already dead? Like, you just go to the supermarket, cook it up. You, like, one vegan guy eating, like, a steak not gonna change how many animals are slaughtered, you know what I mean?
Oh, actually it does. It does.
One.
This, every person's meal makes a difference. So each person, by their one meal, does impact animals.
Well, I guess that
and
could
the
be
economy.
hypothetically true, but also think about it like, you know, there's a lot of vegan protesters online, and I think the general reaction is like, also when I see it, it's like you go to see those vegans in public, they like, stop eating animals, they're showing the videos of those pigs, you know, getting attacked. My general reaction, and I think a lot of those other people, is like, now I really want to eat meat just to go against those people because they're making such a ruckus. It's like, okay, now I have to go the other side just because you're way too crazy.
I mean, that's an interesting reaction. I would kind of wonder why.
No, it's like, imagine if somebody was like in the street and they were protesting. They're like, listen, stop, you know, washing the hands. You know, your hands need to not be washed. It's the natural way. It's like, that's probably going to remind me to wash my hands. I'm probably going to go wash my hands. You know what I mean?
I think I'm going to get going shortly.
You have to leave.
Yeah.
One final question. Let me find one more. Just to end it on a nice question. If animals weren't meant to be eaten, why did God make the chicken so healthy?
This is kind of a big question. And I actually run the Interfaith Vegan Coalition. I co-founded that. And
That's like religious people eating meat?
it is a whole coalition of vegan advocacy groups.
Because I was going to say, like, not to interrupt you, but for example, in like Judaism, I'm Jewish, so if you eat an animal that's allowed in the religion, if you behead an animal and eat it yourself, you will be rewarded.
Well, actually, in Genesis, in part of the Jewish tradition, which I'm Jewish
You're Jewish as well?
So when God created the animals and the people, he said, and he gave us the fruits and the seeds to eat, he said that was tov ma'od, not just tov, good, but tov ma'od. It was very good.
The animals taste very good, I agree.
the seeds and the nuts. That's
No,
what
no,
it
I'm not
specifically
opposed to
said.
eating, some plants. I don't really care if it's causing damage to them, but, also beheading an animal, like you can't eat pork if you're Jewish, but if you go to like a random cow in the middle of the forest with an axe, and you're able to, it's actually depending on how you do the kill. If you're able to do in one chop, there is like a heavy reward. It's like a big mitzvah in Judaism. If you can cook it and eat it yourself within the next 80 minutes.
Well, that's not what my understanding from. There's a wonderful group called Jewish Veg, which
Jewish vegans?
Jewish Veg, and there's actually 75 different rabbis signed a proclamation
They're probably really crazy rabbis.
to promote plant-based eating because it's better for the environment, it's better for our health, and it's also better for the animals. So I think that's a really great note to end on. Yeah. So thank you very much for this interview, for your time. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you another time.
Of course, you have a good one as well.